Hey, Lee.
God.
Yeah, that's right. I am God. It's me, Netflix.
So the voices in my head were you the whole time.
No, you should definitely go back to therapy, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I've got something for you.
What is it?
Do you like anime?
Kinda.
Well, here you go, kid. You're gonna love it, and I know you're gonna love it because I've seen how many times you've seen the TV show.
It can't be. I'm not strong enough.
Too bad, because you're not leaving until you watch it.
You monster. Here we go again. Haven't we suffered enough at the hands of live-action anime movies? Did we learn nothing after Dragon Ball Evolution? Now, there's a misconception going around that Netflix made this movie, but they didn't this time. They're just hosting it on their platform and saying it's theirs, like they tend to do. This film is actually Warner Brothers' fault, and also Square Enix was involved, for some reason, but I'm still gonna be mad at Netflix for putting this where people can see it. I am not happy about this, not one bit. Why watch this movie when you could do literally anything else? Like eat sand, which would be far more productive and entertaining than watching this movie. Sand. Who is going to watch this other than horrified anime fans? The thing is, my burning love for the original and the Superior Brotherhood had me almost enjoy this movie. Almost. I realized about halfway through, instead of watching the movie, I was really just sitting there remembering the same scenes from the anime. I could have just watched the anime again and had more fun. The production itself is alright. Other than Ed's totally real hair, the costumes look great and true to character. The sets look nice and it gives off the appearance of being a competent film, but then, once the story gets involved, oh boy. While this movie hits a lot of the story beats that you would expect it would, this is not a story that can really happen in just 2 hours. What makes the original so fun and engrossing is the time spent getting to know the characters and further understand what drives them towards their goals. Ed and Al can be summarized with, they want their bodies back, but anyone who has read the manga or watched the anime knows it goes a lot deeper than that. Other than the surface level guilt from Ed and Al's chronic depression, these versions are more hollow than a suit of armor. Sure, they put in all the sad parts, Nina becoming a chimera, Hugh's death, but do they really hit as hard? Do they turn you into a sobbing mess the same way I'm sure the anime did? No. Because we spent no time with Nina, and we know absolutely nothing about how Ed really felt about her. Sure, we get this imagery, but is that really enough to have an emotional moment? Ed spent all of 3 scenes with Hughes. His and Roy's relationship wasn't even set up. His daughter isn't even born yet by the time he's murdered. And guess what? Tucker's the villain, I guess? You remember Tucker, the guy who scarred every anime fan and continues to do so to this day? This guy. But, didn't he die? Wasn't he totally murdered? Oh wait, never mind. He got totally murdered again. Wow, these characters sure are good at dying. The real final boss was General... Who are you again? I googled it and I'm still not remembering. Maybe I'm just getting old. Too old to even appreciate this Marilyn Manson music video. And while the climax of this film uses one of the most badass moments in the entire show, it isn't earned. Mustang didn't have the same arc to get here. He hasn't learned anything. Him avenging Hughes doesn't have the same impact because, for all we know, he's just mad he's been stabbed at this point. This is the problem with adapting from one medium to the other. No matter how accurate you make the costumes or how many shot-for-shot remakes you do, it doesn't change that at their core, these are fundamentally different mediums. Live-action film and anime are different, and entire anime series and an entire manga are different. Now, there are cases when changing the medium can make something better, but Fullmetal Alchemist is not one of those cases. Its move from manga to anime was smooth, and it's a classic because of this. The law of equivalent exchange also applies to stories. You need the same amount of mass, and in this case, 2 hours cannot be the same as 2 entire series. But I think what's missing the most from this movie is selfishness. Selfishness is the main theme of their entire arc. They were selfish in trying to bring their mom back despite the laws of the universe, and Ed's entire motivation to get the Philosopher's Stone is out of a selfish desire to get him and Al's body back, which inadvertently causes a lot of horrible shit to happen. You don't even have to go far into the original series for proof of this either. Ed and Al wander into a town and destroy a young girl's belief in God and then topple an entire city's religion for a rock. A rock! Sure, it's pretty rock. Ed is a self-centered ass who only cares about himself and his brother. Tucker is the best parallel to him because of this. His selfish desire to have his position and accolades drove him to kill his wife and daughter, which makes his "we're the same, you and I" speech impactful. He was driven to this conclusion by the same force as Ed, and this fundamentally changes Ed. Is a rock really worth all of this? However, this movie only really has a pinch of that selfish aspect with the characters, other than with Tucker. But even with him, he's blown up to a villain status instead of a lesson for Ed and Al's journey. I guess it makes sense to make this guy more evil for the movie, or they could have just focused on the actual cool bad guys. At the end of the day, I can't see a reason for this movie to even exist. Were these shows not enough? Who was asking for this? Now, it's nowhere near as offensive and repugnant as the Death Note movie or Dragon Ball Evolution, but it's still bad. Like all adaptations, it tried and failed to capture the magic and momentum of the original. Not for lack of trying, though. You can tell this production really did try, but in the end, the sheer mass of the original could not have been one coherent film. And even with this movie being left open for a sequel at the end, kinda, I can't see a second movie going over any better at this point, since this one is already a mess.
Well, you did it.
I sure did, Netflix. And I learned something. Maybe it's not so bad that these movies keep being made. These live-action disasters may always be awful, but it drives those who watch it to then go and watch the original properly. I know a lot of non-anime fans who went and watched Death Note after seeing the Netflix movie, and even now I've heard similar things about this one from friends and coworkers. And if it's getting more people to watch these great anime, I can't really call it a bad thing. But I still think these movies should be better. More respectful, at least.
Yeah, fuck that. Anyway, you watched the movie, so now I'm gonna wander off to some other nerd's illusions. But before I leave, do you remember Bleach?
Yeah, why?